Thanks everybody for coming. This is the advanced users track. Tell all your friends. We still have half the track to go at least. So up next, Steve Watts of SSDC. I don't know what it stands for, but there's a story, I'm sure. And Steve is good at telling stories. So he's going to tell us a story about desiring paths to simple software processes. He's been developing in LabVIEW for over 30 years, an alliance partner. Developing software for over 30 years, and he's been an alliance partner for 17 years, and he's a LabVIEW champion. And let's all have a listen. So thanks for coming over. You'll know what I mean as soon as you're in place.
Right, enough of that joke. You have to do this kind of thing, so it's just really, you can look at it. But I've done lots of different presentations. I tend not to do the same presentation twice unless I have to. If you're going to pick one with a video of the immediacy one, I like that. Go look at that. You wrote a book, you user group, 7 years, blah, 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 blah. If you want to hear my latest thinkings, you can see it blog online, pretty much. Everything that comes out of here also comes out of there. No, not everything. But most of it. So last year I did a thing on ISO 9000, and the most useful slide I like is essentially this is our software processor. We get customers transition. So if your customer needs and money, and they put it into my company, and we produce new software. It's very simple. Every successful venture in a changing world requires both agility and discipline, and this goes into Jeremy's presentation quite nicely, I think. And it's something we really like. Be able to be agile, but disciplined. So, the goal is to try and encourage software teams to have a way, and to base this way on good clinical decision making. So, somebody comes up to me and says, I must use this. You better come and say why I must use this. So, I need to, essentially my motivations are, if I can churn stuff out quicker, better, make more money out of it. And these are the motivations. I'm not in it for fun. So why is having a way of working important? Well, it gives you a shared point of discussion within your company. It gives you a foundation to improve upon. It simplifies training and documentation. If you work in the same way. And it also, most importantly, allows you automation, application of automated tools. So here's a disclaimer. Some of this is old process, some of this is new. In short, we're not finished, and we don't aim to be finished. Well, maybe after a time. But this is our way. Get your own way. Because people don't think like me, John, think like him. You all think differently. So your ways will be different, your nuances, your businesses. The things that are important to me are not necessarily important. Since Fabiani, he deals with addiction. And this is his statement, which I prefer moderate hope and some likelihood of success to the dream of perfection and the promise of failure. And it's to do with getting people off whatever they're addicted to. But I sometimes think that the LabVIEW community may be addicted to complexity. So thinking about this, let's just make things a little bit better every now and again. So there's various other things that back this up. So Voltaire says it, that perfect is the enemy of good. It's a Nirvana fallacy. There's lots of this type of thinking, and every time I look at it, it's not going to happen to use. That's the software to use. One perfect. Get the job done. So what's a desire path? So, I live near a wonderful place called Andover. If you come over to Britain, don't be that shit. And what we have here is over, just beyond this wall, is a Kentucky Fried Chicken. And the car park for the Kentucky Fried Chicken is there. The council people think that Kentucky Fried Chicken enthusiasts are going to walk all that way to the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, first, their key demographic is wrong here. Because what they do is they escape over the fence. And that's the desired path. It's essentially a very aggressive shortcut. I've got another term here, which I quite like. Oh yeah, so we decided to cut each and this is not my claim. We decided to cut each and every possible corner and use all the shortcuts at our disposal. Because we're shortcuts. Yes. I want to do it the hard way. So I've been putting processes into factories and various other places for a long time. And the thing I've learned, this is my fault, these aren't learned, is that it has an inherent number of steps. And you know it. When Mr. Collinston comes along and says, oh yes, we need to get this table here, etc. And all to your aim failures, and it's an extra step in the thing that you're doing. As soon as it's back to turn, it's not going to do it. It's not going to happen. Then you have to come back and beat you with a stick, and management has to get all autocratic on you. Your workplace becomes an unpleasant place to be. So, there are problems. So we're going to be clinical about this, and I've certainly in Europe I've been trying to get our presentations to be a little bit more clinical in their way of doing it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to describe the thing we want to do. I'm going to describe some of the alternatives. I'm going to describe what we do. And I'm going to describe why we made those decisions. So I'm going to go through a few subjects, and that way you can understand your thinking. I'm not saying you should do it this way. I'm saying you should apply these types of things. So, I mean, for example, we do code reviews. But every question we say, oh, you should do it this way, and it's a bit underneath that says, why haven't you done it? We don't make you do it that way. You have to justify why you've done this. So this slide is not as good as I wanted to. I actually want to put these things to the back. But actually, the thing we want to do with issue tracking is manage and maintain a list of issues across multiple projects. So, deep diving, it's track issues, communicate changes in issue status, centralised database, print all the open issues from a project, print an issue reports, architecture, load and back up the issue system, apply an issue to multiple projects. Well, so this is what we want to do from that. The slide would be much better if I put all that in place. So various ways you can do that. Some of the alternatives here are just do it on spreadsheets. Just do it on .word. Post-its on a wall, which is a reasonably effective way to do it. And that's Fabiola mentioned that one. Then you've got all your tools, your bugs and series, red line mantis. I don't fault bugs. The word bug keeps appearing here. I don't like the word bug. It's a negative connotation. An issue is a much better way to think about it. And an issue for us could be anything. It could be a future requirement. You know, a customer could ring up and say, oh, it'd be really nice if you did something else. And it gets blocked. So I looked at the various tools and things, and I decided to, well, we're quite good at databases and we're quite good at LabVIEW. So I decided to just get a schema for Bugzilla, put it on my own VPS, and make some LabVIEW tools to talk to it. And the thing is, we don't use all of the schema. We just use the bits that are interesting to us. But they're there, because it's a well-designed schema. It's really well, Bugzilla is a really well-designed database. So we can expand if we want to. It's not a tool that somebody else has owned. So when we think, ooh, I want to add something like so, where you have a branched project, you want all the bugs that the customers are coming in to be across all the projects. Quite right, the issues are across all the root project. So that isn't incorporated in Bugzilla. You have to write the tools to do that. You have to write a database to do that. But because it's my tool, I own it, it's easy. So we have a LabVIEW UI. I'm going to talk about microservices later on, but we have a little LabVIEW microservice that just sits in the background and pops up and deals with interactions with the database. The database is just a MySQL database stuck on our server. So why? Well, I went in the cloud-based way, there's lots of tools and providers. The only trouble is they become a target. Because they know they've got terabytes worth of data. Now, nobody cares about us. Nobody knows we exist. So we get security for obscurity. I mean, if somebody tried to hack my database, because I do backup, I'll just go, and they can have it. I'll just put it on another VPS somewhere else. We have the capability to change things, so multi-project example, adding attachments, things like that, to emails, so we get emails coming into our database. The data entry of these things is actually quite interesting. You can get really complex on websites, do all of this stuff, you can go over the top. Actually, one, you should be managing these issues with your customer and talking to them. So emails is a way better. Also, emails have a tendency to get out of secure environments better than tools that you make. We do quite a lot of work in secure environments. So getting over the barbed wire fence is much easier via email. IT doesn't seem to care what you do with that. We've already got the VPS, which is a Linux server. If you don't know what VPS is, it's a Linux server up in the cloud. Well designed, we can add stuff specific to us, we can change user interfaces, blah blah blah. And the other thing is it's really simple. It took me, it didn't take me that long to write a book and all this stuff. I mean, I've still got accrued knowledge, but it wasn't difficult. So talking about microservices, deployment. So I like microservices, these are self-contained applications. So your projects generally do quite similar things. There's little groups of interesting things that they do. So for us, configuration, calibration, bug reporting. I've already done ones embedded which aren't quite so splice spread, so project building, things like that. But essentially, it's got a fancy name. It's an executable that you give command line instructions to get the standard output data out of it. Thing is, it's easy. And if you don't make bloatware, it's actually quite small. So, oh yeah, that's just an attribute. Picture I need. I do the automated presentation tool I'm just coming up with. It's actually, you just type in the thing you want to present on and it goes through Google. It just sticks loads of images on your PowerPoint and loads of quotes. It's great, it takes about 2 seconds now for me to turn it out. So, different ways you can do deployment. So we use the real service, which I'll talk about now. There's cloud computing, Amazon Web Services, and there's tools, really good tools. BRT is a fantastic tool. So you've got lots of choices. What we do is, on my VPS, I've got an FTP server, I've got a centralized project data, which is MySQL. And I just do 2 things. I check the version of all my executable via command line, so it doesn't open the panel, it just returns this version. And then it calls another little microservice which will update it if the version is so much. Which, the source code for that is really, really complex. That's it. Yes. I'll go into the next page. So that you can check the version and update it. I'll show you a demo of this. That's the interesting sort of salient points of getting the version number. Then it just flips out and that's how you get the standard output, which is a clutch because you have to do a bit of DLL and a bit of .NET. It sucks, but you can get it working the other way. I've got better things to do than make it perfect. So I'll do a demo now. Excuse me while I'm listening. So, this is how it works, just to demonstrate. Speed it up, I don't work this fast normally. So you can see that was version 1.03, that was in its own project. I fuzzed out customers and things. I've got a dodgy screen. I say, oh look, the version in here is version 1.01. Yeah. So I go to my MySQL database on my VPS. I then update the table data. All the versions of all on to there it is. I change it from my 1 to 03. Tick. Yes, sound effects. Right, let's click that again. Oh, no, different those versions are. Let's just update it, then we go to it. That last bit wasn't speeded up. Everything else was. Because I found it if I videoed myself and then presented at normal speed, I was thinking, oh God, you're slow. So the interactions were speeded up, but the actual bit that I thought was important was how quickly you can upload. And take it from me, I'm working in a barn, out on a farm, and our internet's not very good. Okay. There we go. So why? Well, we're not bound to any tool license, which is nice. And hopefully you've seen this. I'm not reliant on a complex cloud system. Now, half the reason our previous cloud supplier went badly wrong was Amazon Web Services is so stupidly complex that the trouble is it allows you to make mistakes in your security, which is what they did. Just standard LabVIEW. And it fits in with this microservice idea, which is fairly new for us. It's just what we're banging out at the moment. But why you can use things like microservices, because where we have a way of working, we all of our software to say configuration database. So if it's the same configuration database, you could make a tool that deals with the configuration database, which you use across all your projects. Or, if you don't want to use it, it's a directory which you just delete out of your project. No, so hard. Right. This might be conversational, this one. But this bit is pretty hard and fast. So, why would you use reuse? Well, to write high quality code with as little effort as possible. That's probably it. I couldn't really think of much more of that. So, when you look at a lot of the conversation about reuse, reuse is good, everyone should reuse, and that's probably as nuanced as it gets. Well, actually, there's a lot of different types of reuse. So, going to the right, I'll explain some of the terms. You can have unmanaged. So what I mean by that is plundering on projects, essentially, or just libraries that you're just putting in. But the unmanaged bit is that you're not sitting there really putting effort into that reuse library. Because it takes 3 times as, in the real world, it takes 3 times as long to make a reuse code with that team. Lots of testing, lots of documentation. I'll carry on that conversation in a minute. So then you have managed reuse. So these are functional libraries from a managed librarian. You've got a librarian, you know, somebody could be the librarian. You go, I would do this, do you usually? And it does. You have tools. So auto-generation tools, wizards, things like that help you. You have packages, architectures and methodologies that encourage reuse. So you can have a framework that is specifically aimed at reuse. You've got template reuse, and microservices goes into the package side. If anyone can think of any others, stick around up. I'm looking down mostly, trying to avoid eye contact. So what do we do? Well, we can do template reuse because we have a way of working, and that's pretty safe. I mean, our template deals with user interfaces, configuration, stuff like that. going back to the requirements changing type of aspect, what we find, and these numbers are probably going to be exaggerated, but just for the sake of fun, our customers will come to us with a set of requirements, which probably cover maybe up to 50% of the actual requirements of the project. Maybe. So, quite a lot of the time, you can squeeze another 25% out of them by giving them a prototype without investing too much time, but it's actually functional in a button pressing navigation sort of way. We can turn that out in 2 days using our template, because it's all kind of there. So you can get to that point. That 25% is really useful at the start of the project. This is, design review time. So you're up to 75. Bear in mind, we do fixed price work most. So 50% is a kind of enough to allow us to give you a price, perhaps. But it's not, you have to be pretty experienced to get away from it. And look how poor we're looking right now. It's not an effective look at this. I am actually this poor. So we do documentation reuse again because we have a way. We all work the same way. Each project has its own suite of documentation, mandatory documents, blah blah blah. Well, we don't want to be writing these documents out from scratch every time. We don't want a scope document. 15 documents that kind of do the same thing, but not really. And you get into this sort of everyone has their own ways, especially if you're dealing with a company like mine. There's 3 gnarly old gits and kit. It's really not. We all want to work our own ways because that's how we always work. We reuse 3 microservices. That's, I think, is fairly new. I mean, we've been doing it probably 2 or 3 years now, but we're getting good returns on it. We reuse through configurable design. So we do a lot of alarm systems for the Marine, and they sit on CREOs, and we can take one system, stick it on another plate. And it's actually the only thing that we're really changing is configuration from. You put that up front. And we do unmanaged. So you can see that there's no managed reuse here. Christ, that's a terrible thing. You don't manage reuse, you don't. Well, no, we don't. So I'll do a demo. This is again backing up somewhere. Now we can get into the argument. So this is our building project. So this is our project manager, and it does everything for us. It handles our issue tracking, we've got project numbering, and document serial numbers, blah, blah, blah.
Mike. Use the mic.
I thought, I'll change my name to Mike. Don't call me that. Right. Yeah, project manager, documents, projects. So we've got a thing called build projects. It comes up with the mandatory documents. You can see some documents are already ticked yes. This is generally our templated documents. You put in your customer, you put in the project name, you put in the author, put in the project template. These are all come off our repository. Put in the project number because you need to know how many existing documents you have. Put in the target directory, which is the one hiding behind it. See how much faster it is to speed up. Then you click on the ones you want, double click. Not recurring material, which one's do I want? Design review checklist, that's a good one. Let's have one of those. And a project post-mortem, which is, talk to me later about project post-mortems. They've changed the way we work. So there it is, all designed. Now you press build. And now it's bringing stuff in from my repository, bringing all the documents in. But not only is it bringing in all the documents, it's filling out all the documents. Based on the information. So here they all are, numbered up correctly. I use open document, I don't use Word. So I've got control over fiberglass, not glass. But you can see that's all filled out all day to day, all the project numbers. So all the salient points are there. Which also is our project checklist. So this is the way we try and get us 3 gnarly old men to run our projects in the same way. So it's just really, we went through it all and said these are the things that are important to us. So POs and project plan. This is all part of ISO 9000. This is us telling our customer what we're going to do, and here's all the documents. Unfortunately, every time I do this demo, I have to go to the database and delete them. Okay. I need a test plan, really. SSDC project manager, you're the leader there, and we'll come on to that later on. And there's the template that we used. So Gen Admin is our general, what we call our general template. That's it. See, that's quite a saving in effort. But more importantly, by saving us, I think I'll probably do it right actually. Hold on. Hold on. See the next slide. Oh yeah, here's why. So going back to the reuse thing. The reason we don't do functional reuse with libraries and stuff is because it's really boring. If I wanted to be a librarian, I'd be a librarian. And I'll come back to the bottom way, but so this is the controversial view, and I'm going to push this one a bit forward. How are you thinking? Because this is based on what sticks. So what we've tried to do, you know, I've been programming all the time. I've tried the reuse way. We all have them, and you end up with a dusty little unused repository which hasn't been touched for 17 years. It's a little bit hard. It's a lonely place. Well, my theory is that LabVIEW is a rapid application development. And I'm quite good at programming now, so I can churn out something from scratch pretty quick. If it takes me 10 minutes to do an instrument player, why am I going to spend all the extra time putting all the extra effort? Now this is our peculiar use case, but it's probably applicable to generalists like us. We don't do the same software once we're doing bespoke solutions. If you've got a factory where you have a standard sort of test suite and you're adding plugins to that, well worth the effort. You know, return on investment. So I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying sometimes it's okay to say we don't do it. You know? And the thing is, we try it all ways, and this is the thing that we get benefit from. We don't get benefit from doing stuff we don't like doing. There's a lot of extra things about this that I'm going to go into if I come back. And there's quite a few interesting articles about reuse and the dependencies you get from reuse and how that clashes your projects up with lots of nonsense you don't need and the dangers of such ways of thinking. Look at the language go, if you want to go outside of the language sphere ever. And look at some of the feelings and philosophies behind the language go. It's quite interesting. It's almost too simple to actually have a slide set for. Really. Time on. Huh? That's what it is. So, multi-development teams. We want to build software that's AT. That's it, really. No more than that, but it's a problem that we have all sorts of issues. Some of the alternatives. You've got branching and merging, you've got continuous integration, you've got brainstorming, what we call subcontractor method, guess which one we use. And you've got ad hoc, which probably is brainstorming, is essentially everyone just chucks code into a bucket and shake it. Out comes an application. Good luck. And I've worked on various types of these, so you know, we do embedded stuff, and you usually work with embedded CT, and they quite like the top three. And I used to go into work on an hourly pay, and I didn't get any work done until 12 usually, which was nice because I would drink coffee and stuff, and I was on hourly pay. But the reason why there was always this lag is because I used to do the build at night, and then the next morning they'd spend 4 hours pointing at each other, blaming each other for the broke it. Branch and merging, you probably have something to say on that. I don't know if you do. No, but there's some very highly paid consultants that backed up our view of branch and merge. They were paying an awful lot more than us. So So what do? We do something we call the subcontractor method. So we only call it because we needed a name for this slide, really. What we do is we have a project manager. And the project manager is the person who owns the repository at that time in the project. And if he wants any stuff doing, he then defines that stuff over in LabVIEW in an email. And he goes to one of us Herberts, can you write me a piece of code, please? And because we understand coupling cohesion, you'll get a nice cohesive structured package back. And that can come back in various very high-tech methods. It can come back on the back of an envelope or an email or a CD or whatever. And I give it back to the project lead. He's the expert, so he knows how to put it into the project. So I think merging by, so the branch of merging, I think merging by VI, not merging by law, has something to it. Like I said, there's nuance. Oh, and then he sticks into version control stream. So, why works? It's simple. Branch and merge doesn't work very well, especially in LabVIEW. It doesn't work very well for some. I still think, let's see, continuous integration has something about it. There's something about continuous integration that's still interesting. But people like James do all the hard work and then just cut it at the end. Take all the thought and do a presentation on it. But it's still, yeah. And this all just comes from really just experience, don't try not to force a way of doing things. It's just, that's the way we always go back to. Just because it's easiest. Source code control. You're going to have enough time to speak. Okay. So all we want to do is track development source files in a project to prevent it from being altered by more than one person at a time. That's pretty much it. Track project, we'll communicate changes, and project will team. I'm going to rush through this one because it's quite a while. But I do quite like this slide because it's amusing. So, I still run into the man who's doing version control like that. It's always interested me how he was going to scale that up to, 1,000 VI project. But it's very ambitious and well done you. And then you can do this sort of same with your directory. You're doing version control here, guys. You're not doing version control, you're not doing it very well. And that's great, apart from all the cross-linking problems. So we can cure all the cross-linking problems by messing it up. Or you can use proper tools. So what we do, I have to say I am baffled by the enthusiasm people have. Not the fact I don't like it, that's just how are you enthusiastic about this? It's a tool. So, fair play, it's a better tool than Subversion. But I can do stuff in Subversion which I can't do in Git. So, and that's only me as well. No, you can do stuff. I can't do it, but. So, I like tortoise. It's never let us down, is it? Never let us down. And I've got something called Most Connect Hooks on my virtual private server, which allows me to email customers changes that have been made to the repository, email each other, do stuff. There's hooks into it. Now, I assume Mercurial has got the same, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, because eventually we probably will go on to Mercurial, which I think is a good sort of thing. And it's enough for us. So, how do we access it? It's a user interface and a VI, then we use key-links to PuTTY to send it out to, I've done the presentation. But why simplicity? I also think it's quite easy to learn Linux commands out a little bit, but learning Linux is really good. Everyone should learn it. If you're going to be a really good learner, I reckon you should learn 50% of it. Learn 20% of it, and learn 30% of it. Right? Then you can pretty much tackle anything. You can mix all these things around to whatever your domain has, but I always worry about people that know 100% of it. I know. Yeah. You see me at champions. I know next to nothing. Every item on the planet has got my own name. It's all WYSIWYG and squiggly dog and diddly doo. And I ask a specific question, I don't know, there's that one over there that I grabbed by my hand. My hand knows, the rest of it don't. Because I'm thinking about other stuff, like clouds and squirrels and stuff. So, we've got our own tools. We don't embed them, we use the tools SVN client on just like a Windows Explorer. And that works grand. For us, what's, you know, because a project for us is more than just the LabVIEW project. That's just a subset of our project. Yeah, looks cool. But one day, when I get time, or somebody pays me, I'll have a look here. My God! This is Johnny, by the way. So, in our book, he came up with all the clever ideas. I just did all the hard work, like writing. Thanks, Steve. Well, hard act to follow. So, this is a slight tangent to Steve's part of the presentation. So, what I'm going to talk about is managing projects. So, what do I want to do? Flexible and responsive. Okay. Practical. Steve's spoken plenty about that. And for this audience, manage projects in a way that's helped by LabVIEW. Steve's already touched on the fact that LabVIEW is rad. This is when I started writing software. This is how old I am. 1983, I was writing assembler, Fortran, and later C. And generally, the project management concept was to give me a spec, it was pretty loose, a few requirements, and a date. Off I went. You can pretty much guess how accurate I was and how many deadlines I hit. Not many. But for where I was working down in Worthing at IMAX, that was pretty much how we did it. Sometimes it worked, it was simple. If it wasn't, it often failed. Late 80s, the wonderful waterfall model. I was working in flight simulation, and this was the golden ticket. How hard can it be? You get all your requirements at the start, you design, you code, you test, you deliver, job done. Easy. Yeah? Yeah, it pretty much failed the first time I used it. The requirements changed, the design changed, and at that time I was working on a new aircraft, so the aircraft changed. We were late. Again. So, complete fantasy. Really, unless you believe in unicorns. I don't know. So, I think Tom does as well. That's where I came to the conclusion that really the waterfall, it doesn't work unless it's really simple what you're doing. But the stuff changes, requirements change, hardware changes. So, my next escapade was the V model. And, okay, well, what's the difference? Well, it was sold as being quite different, because you're continuously testing and integrating. But in the large aerospace companies that I worked at, what generally happens, it kind of slid back towards waterfall. In these big projects, they have something Steve and I have been talking about, doors for managing the requirements, but it becomes this big, wieldy beast. And it can have links to other stuff, and they change, and then before you know it, you've got a whole load of staff managing doors, managing requirements, and it worked a little bit better in my experience. So, I kept looking for something, and in the late 90s, I was working on some pretty large LabVIEW applications. Steve was there as well. I didn't like him then, so I didn't talk. And, still didn't. So, I stumbled across Kent Beck's book, Extreme Programming. I thought, that's it, that's going to do it. And it was better. So, you see what I've done here this slide.
And so, continuous build, yeah, we had the hardware that was working, and pair programming. Pair programming works sometimes really well, other times not so well. I have a really short attention span. So if I'm the one doing the watching and it's really boring, I'm looking out the window in 10 minutes. You wouldn't want someone like Steve sitting next to you who would be barking at you all the time and telling you off. But when it was quite complex what we were doing, it worked really well. So if we were trying to solve a problem, 2 sets of eyes, it worked really well. But still not quite there. So then I came to Agile. Now, I call it Agile Light, and that really upsets a lot of people. I actually don't care. The reason I say Agile Light is I'm convinced from my own experience that a light touch, especially initially, is the way to go. So I'm sure a lot of you are very aware of the original manifesto. I stick to the original manifesto. So individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Individuals work together, interacting far better than a process. Steve showed another process people can do. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Now, I don't know about you, but I hate documentation. In my experience, especially in aerospace, the minute it's finished is the minute it's out of date. I'm not going to say you don't need documentation, but I prefer working software as opposed to documentation. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Now, we do this a lot at SSDC. The customer is involved as early as possible and as much as possible. If we go back to the Jurassic period when I started, you didn't see the customer till the end, you were late, don't know, here it is, and he said, that's not what I wanted. Go figure. And the last one, which I think is probably the most important, is respond to change over following a plan. Best laid plans, goes back to requirements changing, being taken away completely, new requirements, being able to respond to change. That hit a real chord for me in early 2000s. Okay, so I think it's interesting if you look at those 4, which I think are 4 fundamental principles, and you look back at what Steve has presented, there should be a correlation. But in a large project with a multiple team, how do you get to do this? Scrum. So, I've used this now probably on 7 or 8 large projects, and I think it works, and it works well. It's a framework that sits on top of Agile, and a lot of it for me is common sense. So I'll just run through it quickly. So you've got your product backlog, so that's your backlog of items that you know you need to do, and you know that now. So generally, your backlog, because requirements change, things change, it's a couple of sprints worth. Your team then come in and you plan your sprint. Now, a sprint is a time frame where you're going to execute the tasks. What I like to do as a Scrum Master is I like to also have goals. So we align goals with what the sprint is going to deliver, and that helps drive the tasks that the team are going to do to deliver those goals. Very important that the team's involved, that everyone buys in, everyone is involved in doing that sprint. Another important factor is when the sprint starts, you can't get asked to outstart. I know in reality sometimes it happens, but the idea is you start and you finish it. And you start a sprint. The other very important thing is the daily standard, the daily scrum. People hate them at first. You stand there, you say, yesterday I did this, today I'm doing this, I've got no blocks. That's but it's the cross-pollination of information that's really important. It's only 10 minutes, but it's 10 minutes every day. If I'm allowed to, in most companies, I stop status reports. In my experience, they take ages to write, no one reads them, and it's historical, because stuff, I haven't done this because this bit of hardware wasn't available, but it was in the past. If at a stand-up someone says, I'm blocked, me being the Scrum Master, or the plumber as I like to call it, I go and unblock that. You gets it done. So it's a daily cross-pollination of information. Very, very powerful, very simple. At the end of the sprint can be 1 week, 4 weeks, generally it's 2. If in a very changing rapid environment I've used 1 week. You have the sprint review. So this is your definition of done. So the idea is you set up your stall and everyone can see what you've done and has it achieved it. The other meeting is a sprint retrospective. This is really interesting because no one contributes at first, they're new to it. But this is your chance to change what you're doing, add things, take things away. Isn't working, you don't do it anymore. Someone has a great idea or something to add to it, you start doing it. And you feed back round and do it again. And that's how you burn it down. As you go through, you find out things, you populate the backlog, more sprint planning. One of the big things to get out of it is how much time things take, estimation. Everyone's right for estimation. I am terrible at estimation. So, someone will say, well, I tend to use hours, something like story points, but we'll stick with hours. Someone says, oh, it's going to take me 8 hours to do this. Okay, fine. It takes them 40. Okay, why? And it's not a witch hunt. You learn. You feed back round, your estimation is refined, and so you go on. So your estimation gets better and better. I tend to use Jira. Steve said Post-its on a big whiteboard. I had a bad experience with a whiteboard when someone rubbed against it and they all fell off. But this is quite simple. This is a sprint. These are the epics on the side. So I like to use epics as the major requirements and tasks that are linked to them. There's the sprint running. That's a particular task over there, beside there to close, and they're assigned to people, so anyone can see what anyone else is doing. You've got complete visibility, so there shouldn't be any double dipping, for instance. So, disclaimer: there are no silver bullets. If you go away from here and say you're agile and doing a bit of Scrum, I ain't going to do it for you. It is an investment. It takes work, but just paying lip service to it, it's not going to do it for you. Just like when object-oriented came onto this earth, it was going to solve everything. It didn't. Case tools, they take effort, they take time. There are no silver bullets. So, I've got time for this. A couple of war stories. So, from the field, I was leading some private venture projects, and the environment was changing rapidly, the requirements were changing, what we were trying to do was changing. So we used Scrum, and it worked well. Of course, I'd say that, that's what my presentation's on, but it did work well. Another team, working another aspect of the private venture stuff, they got all the documents. I think they spent, I can't remember how much it was hundreds of thousands of euros they spent. But they hadn't delivered anything. So they came and saw that we were delivering stuff, and they said, how come you're delivering stuff? We said, oh, well, because we're writing stuff rather than documents. We usually Agile and Scrum. They said, brilliant! That's what we're going to do then. And they went and got 2 consultants come in who were Scrum, Agile through and through, Scrum. This goes back to my Agile line. And they made them implement absolutely everything in one fell swoop. It lasted 3 months. And the project actually pretty much fell at the end. My second war story is I was working for a large American aerospace company, and they were 2 years late. So I was part of the recovery team, and they paid lip service. They said they were using Agile and Scrum, but they actually weren't. And if they missed the next deadline, I think it was $1 million a week penalty. So we refined the process, off we went, and it was delivered. But there's an important point here. We weren't going to make the deadline. Our refinement on hours got better and better and better, so you can see where you're going to land. If you need all here, but your trajectory's over here, you're going to miss it by a country mile. So what can you do? There's only 3 things. Change the deadline. That was an option, because it was $1 million a week. Put more people on it. Well, Brooks's law tells us more people, something's already late, makes it later. Deliver less. That's what we had to do. Because we refined how good our estimates were, we knew what we needed to cut out. We negotiated with the customer, they weren't happy, but they then turned around and said, you know what, we don't need this particular part of it. I think it was around 10,000 hours we cut out. We were able then to deliver. Had we not been using this, I firmly believe we would just have been head down, plowing along, and they lost meetings. So, I think we went through ISO 9000. So Steve and I are always having very robust conversations. And I said, quite a long time ago, I'm agile and I'm going Scrum. And he said, that's alliteration. Although actually weren't the words he used, but they aren't repeatable. So, and Steve is right in a way, because if you're old enough like us and too gnarly on gigs, you're forced to use various processes and various stuff. Tom, what was that thing we used at the Knowles? Decision analysis, was it? Yeah. Didn't right. So Tom and I worked back in '92 to get on one of the first large LabVIEW applications on Windows. They spent $1 million more, I remember, and I thought it was really good. And everyone was meant to use it, and we know we can't use it. But that's where Steve was coming from. But when we went through the ISO 9000 process, I think pretty much you can see that we met the 4 principles of the manifesto. So have a look back through his presentation and measure it against the manifesto, but I think we're very close. Do we use Scrum across in SSDC? No. Why? Don't need to. But my son Liam works for SSDC now, and I use it with him, so he's shadowing me now, and I get him to do his estimates. We do little mini sprints, and he's already learning. His estimations are as rubbish as mine, and he's learning to refine them. We've got clarity in what he's doing. So if we go back now to where I started, I've had this word already, but ad hoc, that's how I started, ad hoc. That's the last picture. Today I'm working in a company, and consulting, and it's 2017, and they're ad hoc. They have no process. They have
Deliberately more ad hoc than you want to be.
really, really bad ad hoc. I don't know. And that's today. So I find that fascinating that companies are still around. They're a big company, multi-million pound. So from my little journey and with SSDC, I'd just like to close and say, whatever you do, do something. Even if it's just looking at the 4 principles of Agile, because I think they offer an awful lot. Don't do ad hoc. More slide. This is it. It's the killer. Right, I didn't do that one either. Very critical. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Questions?
Question, sorry, I got off lightly. Right, right in front. I knew you'd ask a question.
How do you just ground on a fixed price contract?
Well, most of the contracts I work on are fixed price. So they bring a lot to the table. So my example of where there was we were late and there were big penalties, by using Scrum, we knew what we could leave out, or at least asked to leave out. Most large projects that I'm involved in, either writing software or being a Scrum Master, they're fixed price. So, what's the question really?
The question is, you don't know the requirements up front, you refine them as we go, right?
That's just how it is though, yeah.
So, how do you know your price point when you negotiate the contract?
Well, I don't negotiate those particular contracts, they're big aerospace companies, but I guess they go on previous experience, etc. But yeah.
Going back to my 50% requirements, I know going in, but that's what I'm bringing up. Because if, the fallacy is, and I can't believe that people still believe this, is that actually writing 100% coverage requirements is actually much harder than writing LabVIEW. You know, it just is. So you're asking your customer, who wants you to help, to write 100% accurate requirements so you can make it quite well. I think I've had 2 jobs where I've had 100% requirements and I've all been horrible to do. Horrible. Because there's so much investment in that upfront stuff that can't possibly be wrong. So flexibility can't be wrong because I've invested 100,000 hours into this one, you know?
But they still require fixed price.
Yep, well, it's just the way, it's the budget you come from. So there's 2 budgets. And in Europe, generally the budget is a capital budget. The headcount budget, which is paid, is constrained and more difficult. So you wouldn't get work if you didn't do fixed price. That's the truth of it. The way we handle it. So we know the 50%. That's through initial negotiation. Maybe you'll do a prototype when we do a screen sit down. You know, you're doing the discussion. We have to do it practically. From that, and knowing that that is not a full set of requirements, you have to establish that you make your code. So lots of talk about s'mores and designing your software. The most important thing for our software is flexibility. And the reason is, we know those requirements are not going to work. So we know when the changes come, we need to make changes at the end. And we know that going back to your customer and saying, you made this change, you've got to give me more money. Well, it's very difficult for them to give you more money. Put yourself in their shoes. They've gone to their boss and said, that project's going to be 20 grand. Well, it gets career limiting if they go back and say, oh, I need another 10 grand now, because I didn't do my job properly. So you're in that position, you know, that's just reality. There's nothing you can do about that. So you can't bend reality to suit you. You have to deal with it as it is, and that's how it is, I'm afraid. So what you do is you put things in, like Jeremy said, is essentially you put in the flexibility, you put in the hard work, and the difference between projects that fail and projects that succeed generally tend to be experience and flexibility in the two. It's, you know, you fill a team with newly certified CLAs and there's no idea what gets in there, then it will suffer. You can use whatever methodology you like. The studies have been done. You know, it doesn't actually matter the processes and what you do. You just got to have one. That's actually the next. Yeah. And the next step is, you know, you're making, by changing the process from, you know, one type to another, you're going to be chipping away at 1 or 2% efficiency. Having no process compared to having a process is pretty much always failing on anything that's not simple. And you know, that's just how it's always been, isn't it? I mean, Stephen Collins is he does a thing on construct. He does a very I've referred to it several times. It's a very interesting video about just case studies of why projects fail, big projects. And it really transpired that you can go, oh yes, this project don't succeed because we never use that. And you fill a project team full of kids out of university who've never succeeded in doing a project. And all sorts fail. It's not their fault. It's just the way it is. Or you bring in a team and they could use waterfall, really. But if they have a history of succeeding, they will succeed. But, you know, so, and the ad hocness really comes, you know, that you, as you get older, you become less ad hoc in your process, really, don't you? So it's a natural matter. Oh, sorry, just doing it.
So in your first bullet of the annual life manifesto, you have said that you prioritize individuals and interactions over processes and tools. And the slide right there says don't add profits. Can you help clarify that for us?
Well, the ad hoc bit is having no process at all. That's what I mean by that. So let's go to that, the manifesto. Find the right button. individual interactions over process and tools. So Agile and Scrum is there's a framework and a guidelines. You're changing as you go along. You're throwing away what doesn't work and put in what does work.
And it's over, it's not instead.
Yeah.
Value on the right side, but the weight of what is moving on the left.
You can see with our process, we've identified things that people don't like doing, and we've like people trying to make people work in a certain way, but not actually
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have this stuff. You're perfectly correct. You're always going to have the stuff on the right side. First it's up and then that's it. Maybe I should let that die in because that's almost your manifesto as well. Yeah, we're done with that. Yes, sir. So cue the music.
I would change interactions. I don't think it's really about interaction because
Well, don't forget, I don't disagree with you, and the beauty of this is you can make it your own. I mean, this is lifted from the manifesto itself, but
that goes to one of the primary interactions that needs to happen is customer.
yes, I agree.
Otherwise, the whole fallacy is thinking of customer is exactly what we want. Some people call it, I call it recognition.
And sometimes it's a bit of a blue sky wanting the customer there all the time, so you need a project champion or a stakeholder. Someone who cares. Right, yes, the music.
Yeah, so
Dances
I'm pretty sure what's going on is this is the overflow for the keynote. So they probably